So we're not just restricted to just using, the secondary constructor individually and the primary constructor individually. We can use both of them at the same time. So let's see that in action. So currently we just have the secondary constructor. Right now there is no parentheses after the class name, so that means there is no primary constructor. But if we add a parentheses right after, we're including the primary constructor. But as you guys can see, a red squiggly line starts to appear. It says the primary constructor call is expected. So when we add a primary constructor and we have a secondary constructor, it still expects us to call the primary constructor first. It should be the first constructor called when the object is made. But to include the primary constructor, we just add in a colon right after the parentheses in the secondary constructor, and we use the keyword this. Oh, that's not how you spell this. This. And this pretty much means that we're going to make a call to this primary constructor, and you have to add a parentheses right after this. And this will make a call to the primary constructor. Right now we have no parameters in the primary constructor, so we don't have to include anything within it. But if we were to have something like color, so let's put color string. Now it expects you to pass in a parameter to this primary constructor. Even when calling the secondary constructor, we still expect to pass the parameter to the primary constructor. So to do that, we're taking color in the secondary constructor. We could just take that color variable, which is right here, and we can just pass it to the primary constructor, and that should cause the squiggly line to go away. So that's how you make a call to the primary constructor even when using the secondary constructor. And let's do a little example, because we're always talking about passing in parameters or passing in data, but we don't even know how to do it. So just to show you guys how to pass in values, let me just put a tab. Let's call val, and we're going to call this house. We're going to make this equal to house, right? We're going to open up the parentheses, and now we're making a call to constructor. See, it's giving us two options. We can either make a call to the primary constructor, or we can make a call to the secondary constructor. In this case, I want to make a call to the secondary constructor, so I'm going to pass in the amount of rooms. So I want a 4-room house with 5.5 bathrooms, and I want the house to be blue, very mellow. And if I run this with a little bit of time, you guys will see, boom, color is blue. So pretty much we're creating a house. We're using this parentheses to call the constructor. We're choosing the secondary constructor based on the parameters that we passed in. It's saying that we have an int for rooms, a double for bathrooms, and we have a color for string. And first, even though we're passing this data to the secondary constructor, it's still taking the color that the person passed in, which is blue, and it's making that call to the primary constructor first, and then it's going to run this println color, and then the color that the person inputted into the constructor, which is blue. So the primary constructor comes first and the secondary constructor comes last, and there's something in between that we're about to talk about, which is called the init block.